how it's set up with the reverse ending at 7 feet, the fronts hook a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's death for a guy with low axis tilt.
Yes, I agree.
So the minute the fronts start to go, Frankie's life gets very, very difficult.
So we could expect him to move in and change to reactive pretty soon.
Yeah, I would have to say, because if he goes in with urethane, it's going to either read too close to him, or he's going to throw it through the spot, and then it'll just never hook again.
It could become very weak at the end. That's why I said if he wants to remain urethane, for me the only option so far would be move at least one and one out.
Yeah, or you'd have
bowl a little bit the hook and stop like we did back in the 90s or 80s.
Yep.
But probably the safer or smarter move would be move in and wait for it to come to you.
Yeah. I actually think like if Frank could shine a urethane ball, that might not be all that bad, and he could maybe stay a little more to the right.
That's how I love my U78. I have two of them, both shiny.
Yeah.
They're both so good. I love that ball. I'm in love with that ball. It's the only urethane ball I really love. Everything else is boring.
Yeah.
And at least he has some color.
Yes.
I'm boring with all these black balls. It feels like I'm seeing my father bowl again.
I know, right?
And it's like, okay, give me some color. All right, let's move around a little bit more. Jesper is with the 7 again. Not so angry anymore with anyone by his side. Let's see who we have here. Thomas McNeil with a double. Look at that one, double and gather. That's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Put Daniel Frisch there on lane 8. Baron Robinson, English kid, doing okay. Front 3, 45 over on game 1. You know what? Let's have a look at the standings for this game 1. We have Zach Wilkins 299, Frankie Lavoie 290, Eric Jones 279, Alex Horton 266. Mario Francesco, yes, he agreed, he was from Italy, so 258. Andrew Anderson 247, Ben Robinson 245. Thomas McNeil, not the family, right?
That different spelling on McNeil.
Ah, okay. 238. Jasper Spencer 238. Antonino Fiorentino 235. Billman has 235. Richard Tees 234. Nico 227. And we have as many as, look at that, 30 out of 40 on par or better. So high scoring again. It's going to be a high squat, or I feel it's going to.
It has the possibility. It definitely has the possibility. It's so hard to predict. You know, oh, this is going to be a big squad. This is going to be a small squad. You know, one guy's going to hit him. 5 guys are going to hit him. It's very tough to tell because you're trying to foresee what people are going to do to the lanes. And like I tell everybody, how should they get asked? They ask all the time, how should I play this pattern? I said, well, however the field decides they're going to play them that day.
Yes.
Well, and they have this dumbfounded look. I'm like, well, it all depends on what everybody else does to the lanes, because that's what you're going to have to do too, and you're going to have to adjust to it. Oh, really? Yeah, believe it or not, the pattern is only the pattern for about 3 minutes. And then it changes, and it changes rapidly.
It's one of the things we have been repeating over and over for everybody who's listening, and they try to learn a little bit more about the game and how to improve their own skills. And you never must do what you want to do on the lanes. You need to do what the lanes are telling you to do. That's the safest way to get into the comfortable area where you have some miss room. And then it's very important that you really get to understand the equipment you have on your backs. So once you find that spot on the lane that's giving you room to miss on either side, you know how to choose your ball to get the right entry angle. Because you can be hitting the pocket all day long, but if you don't understand what ball you have in your hands, you may be calling yourself, oh, I'm so unlucky today, I had so many single pins. It's not a matter of luck, it's a matter of choice. If you choose the right ball for the right moment, then the carry is going to happen no matter what.
Yep. Yeah, and that's Burger King has a campaign in the United States. It's called, have your Whopper your way. And that's not how bowling works.
No, exactly.
I'm like, it's not Burger King. Not have it your way, folks. It's what do I need to give the lanes? It's a game of humility.
So moving on, 13-16, we find Karon Saloma from Finland, Oskar Brostrom, Thomas Larsson, Santu over there, not striking yet. but there goes the first double for Santu over here. Alex Horton with an open frame to begin this game with. Spare. So trying to figure out what he found on 15 and 16. Same thing for AJ Johnson and Richard Tees. Richard started with a couple of splits here.
Yep.
So
the cross is tough.
A little bit of figuring out still for the bowlers out there. Moving on to the right corner, we see a couple of guys who seem to have found the spot right from the start here on lane 19 and 20. We see front 5 for Kyle, front 5 for Lucas Barnanen.
Yep. Those are good pairs up there. I'm telling you, those are very good pairs up there, and they can yield a lot of score. 19 and 20 hooks. And that's a great pair to hit when you start to open up angles.
Oh, did you see that late?
I did.
4-9 on lane 17 for EJ.
Yep.
See how deep that ball gets in the bucket, and boom.
That's why you're the best bowler in the world, because you take that's a once again that's a 36 pin swing. Right
that's
there.
the moment you were talking about a few minutes ago.
Yep.
Now it's when we can expecting to get really a good use of that strike.
Yep.
Make sure he gets a double. Let's have a look at Kyle here on 19. Seems to be slightly more inside than it was on the previous squad. Probably somewhere around 12, 13, I believe, still. Maybe even deep. Oh, no, he moved to reactive, so he's much deeper.
Oh, yeah, he's liking that.
I love that. That's a lot better. Actually, we had lunch upstairs. We crossed the paths on lunch. We were talking a little bit about his moves on squad 1. What I saw on screen, obviously, when you're sitting down here with no pressure and you can see what everybody else is doing, so it's much easier to predict. He was throwing the IQ 78 out there, was feeling a little bit in the middle of the jungle, but he immediately jumped inside with a super shiny iron solid. What I said on the sofa sitting here, I feel like it's a good idea to go deeper and grab reactive, but it might be a little bit too soon to bring that iron solid out. It may be a little bit too sensitive, a little bit over-under. He had many shots in the pocket, but a couple of splits, not very good carry, and immediately on the next game he moved down to the Bionic with a little bit lower RG, a little bit less angular, and then he started working much better.
A little bigger footprint in that cover too. You know, it's like when I say footprint, folks, that's basically all I'm saying is it's a little stronger cover. So it's think about just making your tire wider, okay, as it goes down the road. You know, a wider tire has more contact with the road surface, and so you have more stability there. And that's all we're talking about is when you feel that front to back window kind of getting small, that's when you need to get a wider tire, okay? Because that's going to lengthen that window. And when you see balls, you know, going very far down the lane and turning very sharply, that's the key indicator of bad ball motion. And you're going to see bad scores on the scoreboard above that bowler.
And that is one of the things that most amateur bowlers don't really understand because the ball looks so much more spectacular when it goes all the way down there to the pins and creates a super big angle. But that's not the most effective.
No.
We are here to strike, not to look good, but to get so many pins as possible. See, I have a question here that's Javier Taribo. That's a guy from Barcelona, actually. Good morning, teacher. Good morning, everybody. Looking forward to see you again. I'll be back like 5th or 6th of September. Aren't you going to play any more series? No, I'm not going to bowl anymore. The tournament is completely full. Some of the squads have 40 people on the waiting list. And on top of that, I did hurt my back on Wednesday moving the speaker, so I wouldn't do any better even if I tried. But I'm going to bowl again next year, so it's no worries. There's always more. And next year it's going to be a little bit easier because I'm going to be 49.
Yep.
And probably they're going to allow me already to
do the 50?
To use the window for the seniors. And that should make it at least a little bit more easy than it is at the moment.
I think that would be, if I ever bowl this tournament again, it'll be when I turn 50. because there's no way on God's green earth I'm going to beat these young talented kids.
You want to let us know when is that going to happen? You want to keep it to yourself?
What year is this? It's 2026.
We're in 26.
I'm 41, so
that's a long way to go.
So 2035.
That's
there
a long way to go. I'm not even sure I'll be able to carry the balls anymore by then.
Put me down. Tell Daniel Ronbeck to put me down for a squad in 2035.
Put him on Daniel on the waiting list for 2035.
Yeah.
Put me on the seniors list for next year, and
I'll bowl the early bird too. So then I get the senior early bird. There we go.
I'm gonna tell you, one of your horses is doing very good. So let's go have a look on him over there. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Lane 1 and 2, front 7 for Andrew Anderson, and now I'm gonna, in Spain we say toca madera, which means touch some wood.
Yep.
So you don't jinx them, because every time I switch cameras, no matter how much I love the guy, it's paying out terrible. So.
Well, you need a black cloud
graphic,
you know, because sometimes that happens up here in the booth. Is you want to highlight somebody bowling good, and we put them on camera, and then something bad happens to them, and that's when you need the black cloud graphic.
It reminds me so much when I'm watching NBA, and they go like, "Oh, this guy hasn't missed a free throw for the last 3 days." Boom, out.
For sure, that's the easiest way to make them. Back in the old days of ABC telecast, you'd hear Nelson Burton say, "Oh, this guy is one of the best spare shooters on tour. Never misses a spare." And then you'd watch that. He'd get up and just, whiff a 10-pin or something like that. Happened all the time, without fail.
All right, there goes Andre on lane 2. Okay, I'm very glad that did work. I wasn't really sure about it. I was like, come on, don't jinx them. And Frankie, let's see how is he doing. Has he changed something?
Well, he's still pacing 170. He needed that desperately. That gets him into the 180s. Even if he can just salvage 210 out of this game, that gets him turning 500. So he's
still
100
over.
He's halfway there with 4 games left, and now you just got to shoot 2 1/4 every game, and that's a 4-bagger and clean, or a triple and a double. And that's manageable. You can manage that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, your horses are speeding up, but so is a couple of mine horses as well. I see some striking there for Don Hardin and EJ Tackett, so we're going to have a close race today.
Oh, absolutely.
Exciting one.
Jesper looks a bit bewildered on this pair. But he's got 4-bagger and clean. I mean, once again, that's what we're talking about here, Louis.
And he's got already 238 on game 1.
Yeah.
This one is already on the 20 highs. So just another double is going to be 470 something, and that's pretty much okay for the first 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little on the lower side of what you want, but it's not like, oh man, I'm out of this squad
I'm
already.
desperate and I need to
fish around for something.
I'm just trying to see how many lefties do we have in this particular squad to see what kind of transition or traffic Jesper may expect later on, but it doesn't seem there is too many.
No,
we have
handful.
Eric Jones for sure. Jesper, I've seen the guy on lane 5, which his name is Patrick Hennen. I keep forgetting his name. Poor Patrick, excuse me.
There's a big guy who really cranks it up. And he's playing quite far to the right with urethane. I can't remember what his name is. He's wearing like a pink and black shirt or something.
If you see him, what lane is he on?
Big gentleman though. He's a bruiser.
Lefty as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have Van Robinson as well. I forgot. So we have like 5-6 lefties.
Oh, this guy right here on lane 3.
Oh, here, yeah.
Oh yeah. He doesn't get cheated.
Rasmus.
Yeah. Look how deep EJ is already. Wow.
Oh, solid 10 there for Frankie on lane 4.
No, that's not what he was looking for. Oof. Good shot for Kyle there.
Solid
Sorry,
10 as well,
folks, we got all these screens up here, and
It's hard not to move the eyes around.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
sorry. I apologize. You're like, what the hell are these guys talking
What
about?
are they talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, a lot of striking going on here and there. Lane 13 and 14, I can tell you, Kyle on Saloma from Finland looking for a potential 278. Kyle Troop for a potential 259 on 19 and 20. Same thing for Lucas Banen, bowling with him. Don Harding could go all the way to 264 if he strikes out. EJ Tackett 269 if he strikes out. They are all entering the 10th frame. Saloma is the same, entering the 10th frame. Now we pay attention to Andrew here on lane 2, going for his 10th in a row. And it was a bit late thumb apparently. Not so clean on the hand. But it's going to be a good game. Andrew is going to sit on 279, and he already had, what was Andrew?
247.
247, so that puts him on 120 over. And that's exactly where you want to be after 2.
That's a good spot, yeah.
All right.
Because now you're figuring you just need another 80 over and you're in.
And my other horse is doing okay over there, Nico as well.
Oh, yeah.
For a 250. I don't have
256.
I don't have such a bad eye either.
Yeah. You still got it, Louis.
Where was Don and people? They are down there, so let's move to the other corner once more so we can follow the end for Kyle Lucas and EJ and Don Harding. I think we should buy a spare ball for Mario over here on 19.
Oh, man,
he gave away 3 single pins.
9. He's got a case of the 9 splits.
Yeah. Another strike for Antonino over there.
He's
super high.
He's
today,
impressive though. I tell you what. I mean, he's such a big, strong guy. It's nuts watching him throw pins around. There you go, Kyle. All right, come on now, one more.
You're fine, buddy. Do you need anybody to go bring you some glass of water, Coca-Cola, something? Are you okay?
I'm all right. I'm gonna do game 3, and then I got another meeting. I got a work meeting I got to get to. So.
But we thank you for your time, and you take off whenever you have to.
Yep.
This is a super busy week for you. Obviously, you're the main person of Storm this week. Is Tyler coming, or Barbara? Are they coming later on this year?
Tyler's going to show up on Sunday.
Cool.
Our president, Tyler Jensen, and his wife, Susanna, are going to come in on Sunday for the semifinal action. I think they're going to stay for the TV show on Monday.
Then you move for Norway, is it? You have a Storm tournament in Norway the week after?
Yep. Kyle didn't get the second one, and that would have been really beneficial for him.
Okay, one of my horses, Don Harding, 264, moving on to 77 over. Good. Then we have EJ with a chance of 269 and 472. That would be quite good as well. 5 pin there on 17.
Yeah, with that 203 start, coming back with 269, that's pretty incredible. And look how far he is on the lane already.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I can smell the money already.
Oh,
Good job, BJ.
You got him in brackets too, Louis? Is there?
There's no way because he takes every single one. So never any room for that. Have to wait for him to forget the guys out there and then go quickly and put some money. All right, beautiful games here and there. Emmanuel Johnson striking a lot. Alex Horton, one of your horses, trying to strike out for 235 after a few frames. That's a little bit. Let's go there for a moment so we can see it. Last shot on EJ in here. All right, good enough. That's what we were talking about when you see the pros. 7-2, 8 spare, 9 spare, 8 spare, 9 spare. Finally, he figures out the lane and the strike starts showing up.
Yep. That's the thing about the pros. Their bad games are, 2-0. They they're very, very, very good at minimizing their bad games, maximizing the good ones.
Zach Wilkins, 208 for 107 over. Frankie is also struggling a little bit there on that 3 and 4 where he couldn't strike that much from the beginning. He can still shoot 217.
That would be huge.
So they would be both on 107 over tied.
Yeah, that would be huge.
And it's a bunch of bowlers on that gray area of the 70-80 over after 2. That is quite good. Keep them alive with fair chances to keep improving on the next 4. Andrew ended up with 278, so it's 525 for Andrew. He's going to be on the lead after 2.
And I'll tell you what, this if you don't bowl in an environment like this regularly, this will definitely highlight the flaws in your game. And I think one of the big things that I see that separates the really good bowlers from the good bowlers is second ball focus and the spare making. I mean, obviously it's easy for me to sit in the back and, and be the Pied Piper and know everything. But man, I tell you, I sit back here and I just watch players give up 150, 200 pins a squad in mismakeables.
And that's way, way, way too many.
It's crazy. I mean, if you think about it, if you just shot 200 every game, and then you add in 150
that you gave away on sparing.
Yeah, you would be threatening to make the cut every single time you bowl.
Yes. We find a few questions there. Morning, Luis. Andrew looks amazing. He does. Then we see Noah. Morning. As a youth bowler, what are key aspects I should focus on to have the greatest chance to win the kinds of events one day? I guess he was trying to spell these kinds of the. Well, you need to practice a lot. You need to have a very good comprehension of the game, overall comprehension, as we were telling a few moments ago. It's not enough to just be able to read the lane today. Reading the lane is super important, so you stay ahead on transition and you always bowl at the spot that you can have the most margin to miss room, but you need a very good understanding on your balls and your equipment, so you know exactly what ball you need to play on every situation. So many people that standing, I'll put you two extreme examples. People throwing a ball that goes 45 feet down the lane and they're bowling outside in the gutter. That ball's going to be so angular at the back. It's going to be so difficult to be consistent. And on the opposite side of that, throwing urethane like on 24, 25 in the arrows, that's going to become such an early motion. It's going to have no energy back down the lane, no matter how many times you hit the pocket, no matter how many rep rates you can generate. So number one, obviously, have a proper technique that allows you to repeat if possible and gain some versatility. It's always good. One of the tricks that I believe is super important, it's speed control, so you can do a couple of different things with your game easily. Then perhaps a little bit of hand play, index finger opening, so you can go more forward or more around the ball, as we were telling about Frankie a few moments ago, so you can make the ball go a little bit longer and generate more angle when necessary, or go a little bit more forward and make it read a little bit sooner and more consistent. That would be in the technical aspects. And then, as I said, make sure you understand your balls. And then one thing that is exactly the same since bowling was invented and there was all in the lanes, make sure that you find more friction outside your target and a little bit less friction inside your target. That's the true key. And after that, from me, I think that's pretty much it. You want to add something, buddy?
Well, I think you covered a lot of it, so you didn't leave me much. But I'll tell you what, Noah, thanks for your question. If you want to win one of these types of events one day, take Louis' advice, A. B, I'm going to tell you, just relying on the ability to strike with urethane alone is not going to get you through. You have to have all the shots. You have to be able to play with urethane. You have to be able to play with reactive resin. You have to have touch. You have to have imagination. You have to have creativity. You have to be able to problem solve logically and quickly, and then commit to the strategies that you devise. And that all comes from your competition experience and then your practice experience. I know a lot of bowlers that they say, well, I practice so many times a week. Well, what do you practice? What do you practice when you go out there? Do you practice spare shooting when you go out there? What's your statistic on spare shooting? If I set up 10 3-6-10s, out of 10, how many you're going to make? And if your answer isn't 10, then I say, well, we need to have a conversation. We need to get your spare game better. It's the same thing with 2-pin combinations. Single pins have to be an absolute 100%. I make every single pin I shoot at. There's no excuse for anybody with any talent to ever miss a single pin. And that's just unfocused bowling is all that is. And so if you want to win one of these events, be able to use all the types of equipment out there, be very versatile, be very strong mentally, know your environment, know your tools, like Louis said, know your bag, know how they work, why they work, when they're going to work, and then be the best spare shooter in the field. And I promise you, there is nothing that will make up for a bad spare game. You can strike all you want, but if you cannot spare at an incredibly high percentage, it's going to be just next to impossible for you to win an event like this.
Okay, so Noah is answering, thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble reading these lanes when I played, but I was a huge learning experience. We don't have any coaches where I play. I rely a lot on these kinds of advices. Thanks. Well, I have good news for you. We just released the Strikey app a couple of days ago. It's able on App Store. And there's a lot of information, and there are a lot of practice drills I've been working on for many months, and that is the main idea on this application when we start on the beginning, to make sure that those countries don't have as many knowledge or as many possibilities, that provide you a tool that's gonna be reliable, so you don't have to go onto the internet, because internet has all the information, but it's a lot of misinformation as well. And I must say, Matt, you said it didn't leave much for you to say, but you damn nailed it. It was magnificent. So they're asking who's commenting. It's Matt McNeil and myself, Louis Montfort, at the moment. And I think we can try to refresh the scores from game 2, so we see what are the standings at the moment. Let me find the mouse. There we go. No, not yet. We need another minute. One lane was a little bit delayed, so let's wait a few seconds more before we can try again.
And don't let, the last thing I'll say to Noah is, don't let the fact that there's no coaches around stop you from exploring. Because if you don't, coaches are good and bad. Okay. Now here's the great side about not having a coach around. If you're really self-determined and a self-starter, you're going to go out and you're going to explore how to be a good bowler, and you're going to do it your way on your own terms. And I'll tell you what, Norm Duke didn't have a coach. I can tell you that because I'm friends with Norm, and I know he's told me a lot about his raising. Walter Ray didn't have a coach. Del Ballard Jr. didn't have a. There's a lot of these guys that they grew up self-exploring. They would go out and they'd play first arrow, second arrow, third arrow, fourth arrow, fifth arrow, sixth arrow, fifth arrow, fourth arrow, third arrow, second arrow, first arrow with the same ball, and just practice different releases and speeds. And they just figured out how to get it done. There wasn't, back then there wasn't YouTube and there wasn't everything else. They just figured it out for themselves. Same thing with me, taking my personal bowling. I never had access to coaching. And I didn't let it stop me from working hard and trying to be really versatile and trying to be a great spare shooter and everything else. So I think that's the really good thing if you don't have coaching available. The downside is if you get in some really bad fundamental habits early, it can be very hard for you to undo those things.
The muscle memory you end up creating could be very difficult to overcome later on.
Yep.
But I agree at 100% with what Matt is telling, because that was exactly my case as well. Yep. I grew up in Spain where there is no absolutely knowledge of bowling or passion for bowling. Everything is football, and some bullfight here and there. I was lucky enough to meet the Swedish guys because we had a big tournament in Barcelona once a year. And they looked at me and they said, when I was about 12, 13, it looks very good, but unless you learn something, you're never going to become anything. And they brought me up here for 10 days. I learned as much as I could for those 10 days, and then it was 6 months on my own, testing and trying and filtering. And I guess that's what you said. I mean, you can do it on your own if you have the hunger and the passion. And thankfully, today is a lot more information available here and there. So
Yeah, and take, have a couple heroes, have a couple idols that are really successful at what they do, and then take bits and pieces of what you like about their game and work them into your own game. I loved watching John Mazza and Mike Albee.
John Mazza, man, I didn't remember. Mike Albee was my favorite.
Mike Albee is
by
my
far.
favorite, yeah. And then I loved Norm. The thing I loved about Norm is you could turn on Saturday afternoon TV and watch him playing Fifth Arrow, and then the next week he would be playing First Arrow. And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy can play every shot. So when I'd go out and practice, I started playing every arrow. And then naturally playing every arrow with the same ball, I learned how to change my hand and change my speed, my grip pressure, my loft, and everything else. And before I knew it, 10 years later, I was like, wow, every time I bowl, I make a cut, because no matter what's out there, I can adapt to it.
One of the key things we had back in the day when we were throwing just one ball, we bought one ball every 3 years. We had to become much more versatile than some of these kids there, especially here in Europe. We had so much similar patterns for a vast period of 5-6 years, and with that dominance of urethane play, so you can see so many of them are having pretty much the same game, super high speed, staying outside, going behind, gripping it like crazy. But as soon as you give them a little bit of a flatter pattern and they have to move around the lane, even switch to reactive, you can see them suffering. Of course, it's not of them. There are a few selected group that they can do whatever they want with the hand. There's like, as we saw with Matthias Olding the other day, decided to go back up instead of going in normal. But I've seen Matthias bowl reactive many, many times. Same thing for Carl Eklund, being able to go one side or the other side, but they can play reactive as well. But then there's a bunch of bowlers that they can score as high as they do or even higher in some particular type of shapes, but then all of a sudden when you change them to another shape, it doesn't really work for them. Now, before we carry on, let me make a quick update on the scoring after 2 games. We have Andrew Anderson on the lead with 525, games of 247 and 278. Number 2 is Zach Wilkins, 507, 299, 208. There's another of your horses there, Alex Horton with 490. Then we find Frankie, 487, Ben Robinson, 484. Very consistent there for Ben, 245, 239. 81 over for Nico Oksanen, 77 for Dan Harding, 76 for Eric Jones. EJ Take showing air in the top 10, same for Jesper Svensson, 71 over for EJ, 70 over for Jesper. And if we move down, now we have, it was 30, now we have 32 bowlers on par or better. And quite some big names down here. Look, A.J. Johnson, Pepe Consteri, Justin Knowles, Sean Wright, Richard Steele, so Santu, all these people are sitting on the 23 and below. So it's a lot of talent on the lanes, a lot of scoring going on. Game 3 is going to be there a little bit of transition and trying to find out and figure out for some of the bowlers. What do you think we're going to have now on this third game, Matt?
You're going to have more open angles, covering more boards. And I tell you what, this is where that skill and versatility we talked about a few minutes ago, Louis, is going to come into play, because they're crossing the lane here is very, very treacherous. And if you get a little slow, you're penalized. You get quick, you're penalized. If you grab it, you're penalized. And if you miss it, you're penalized.
Yep.
And this is where we separate the pretenders from the real thing.
Now, let's have a very quick look on 1 and 4. EJ moved over there. We said before the first 6 lanes in the alley play a little bit longer. EJ was coming from the other side of the bowling alley. I believe he's second or third squad. Let me see how many squads EJ bowled already. 1, 2, actually bowled 3 squads. 1360, 1370, 1300. This is number 3 for him. So he probably should have a little bit more of an idea what goes on the lanes, but still it's interesting to see how he's doing there on 1 and 2. He was pretty deep inside already when we saw him last the previous game. So I'm guessing it's still going to be quite in.
Yeah, I think just because there's not, I believe there's not a whole lot of play down here at Olympia. I think it's just the open play is mainly down here on the low end, and
Yes,
all
it
the
is.
high end play is up on the high end.
It's in fact like that when they use the lanes for the Swedish league. Everything, it happens on the right side of the alley, so it's a lot less competition going on lanes 1 to 6.
Yeah, that didn't. He didn't like that, and that's just those slap sevens. They're really common nowadays because the ball enters at such a sharp angle, Louis, and you're actually blowing the 5 pin behind the 7 pin. And those are tough breaks. I mean, it's just, if the ball slows down about, a half foot sooner, it's a strike and a much-needed double for EJ. And instead it's, well, just kick it back to lane 1 now, and I'm still pacing 180.
So EJ is currently 71 over. Probably is going to take a couple of strikes there more. He should be somewhere in the 90s or 200. That's going to force him to shoot 730 on the last 3. But if somebody can shoot 730 on 3, for sure, that's EJ Tackett.
Yeah. Jenny's having a great game on that pair. Triple, spare, triple.
Jenny was just 5 pins short to the par. The ladies division is going a little bit higher, let me tell you. Let's have a quick look on that. Where is the ladies? Over here. We find Sophie with 1370, but actually Sophie with that score is no longer in on the cut because the cut is 1371.
Yep.
At the moment, she's in through the early birds.
Yep.
But if she end up not going in the early bird, she's going to get that #1 position in the ladies division, and that means you need to shoot at least 104 over at the moment to grab the second spot. We see Sarah Klassen 1303, Nora Johansson 1302.
Yep.
So that's going to be some other part of the fight. And look at that. If we look at the under 21, that's pretty amazing as well. Look at how far we need to go before we find. That's the under 21 standing, people. Tomo 1488, Noel 1474, Albin 1473, Matthias 1456. Max Lorenz 1455, Eric Larsson 1432, Carl Eklund 1431, Robin Norberg 1425, Jaroslav 1420, and that's up to 12 bowlers under 21
are in the
shooting 1400.
Yeah, that just tells you. People say, "Well, Matt, why'd you stop bowling?" That's the reason why, right there. Those kids are better than I was in my prime, and they haven't even come close to reaching their prime yet.
No, they made the decision for us pretty easy this time.
Oh yeah, they said, "Get out of here, you old farts."
Okay, so I'm striking again for Andrew Anderson here on 5-6. Andrew seems to be quite matched with the lanes at the moment.
Yeah, it's going real good right now, and like I said, when it's going real good for you, Louis, keep that pedal
absolutely
to the metal.
Absolutely.
Do not let up, because things can change very
drastically
quickly.
and so quickly.
Yeah.
There you have a few more questions. Once again, I truly appreciate the tips. No worries, Nara. Then we find Ida. What's Norm Duke doing today? He's probably fishing.
He's happily retired playing golf is what he's doing.
He's playing golf then. He says since he stopped touring,
retired.
It seems that he disappeared.
Yep. Mr. Duke is happily retired in Florida and enjoying his retirement with his family and enjoying some golf.
Not gonna do any senior events?
Nope, he's done.
Done for real,
done.
eh? Game.
Yep, he is done.
Well, he's bowled quite a few years anyway.
Oh, I mean, he was on tour from age 18 to age 56, so that's
39 years on tour. That's quite a lot.
That's plenty. Yep. So good for him. It's well deserved.
Yeah, I mean,
you figure all those years he was out on the road, 36 weeks, 40 weeks a year, and now it's time to enjoy your retirement and enjoy time at home with your family.
Well deserved. I mean, we're talking one of the biggest legends in the sport, a true gentleman, and we wish him the best, and we thank him for everything he's done for the sport. Obviously,
he taught a lot of people how to bowl on Saturday afternoons. I'll tell you that much, myself included.
All right, a lot of striking here, but there's a lot of striking there as well. Let me move you one more pair. Front 7 for Santu Tabanen, and we see some striking as well here for Richard Thies, and a lot of striking for the Netherlands guy, Jort van Weeren. So what's your calendar for the next weeks, Matt? You said you were going to Norway. We have a storm tournament there going on in Norway.
Norwegian Open, yep. Also early, right after we wrap up here, we got a big event in Gothenburg.
So your first stop is Gothenburg before reaching Norway.
Yep. And then we got some seminar days to go at the tournament. I'll be presenting on a few different topics. So if you're near the bowling center in Norway, come on out for a seminar and learn a little bit more about bowling. And
after Norway, are you joining Frankie and so down there with Gaetan in France?
Oh no, I'm gonna let the two Frenchmen work it.
Okay, you let them do it.
They don't need me around who can't who can speak about 10 words of French. I'm gonna let those guys take the wheel. So those guys got 9 events scheduled throughout France, and they're gonna do they've already done one heck of a job. Gaetan, I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but Mouvarou.
My thing is Gaetan, but don't trust me so much either, because I'm not fluid with French either.
I'm very American when I say his name, Gaetan. It's very very non-eloquent.
Let's see if we can open ourselves a decent bowling alley in Spain, so we can get some of you guys coming down and paying a visit down there. It's been a few years now that we haven't had any storm stuffer in Spanish area visiting, and I mean storm stuffer like when last time it was Daria and Martin.
Yep.
They spent some days down in Barcelona and Malaga. We've done a few of those in the past years, but I think we are in desperate need for a true bowling alley. It's not easy down there at the moment. It's a lot of disco bowling and commercial birthday parties, so it's becoming very difficult for the bowlers that actually want to bowl and practice. So hopefully we can find and figure out something to get a real professional bowling alley down there, so we could start running a big tournament once a year or twice a year like we did many years ago, and try to grow the sport a little bit again down there. So we have another question coming out there on Noah Strandberg. This is a bit of a different question. As bowlers who's been in the bowling community for a long time, what's your absolute favorite moment match you witnessed? Wow, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
especially because my memory is not so good. I need to.
I thought you were going to say because there's so many, but then, we also got the fact that we're a bit senile in our elder years, and we have a tough time remembering the who, what, when, where, and why.
Okay, I'm going to tell you about the last moment that for me was something that really made me say, "Oh wow, I have an answer there."
Yeah.
And that was the first time I saw on TV 18, 19 months ago, Ethan Fury.
Yeah.
First time I saw him, he was doing a 3-step approach.
Oh, yeah, I remember
And
that.
for me, as a former coach now with quite a few two-handed bowlers, students on my own, when I saw Ethan, it was like, So that is the way that should be done. That's the textbook how it should look like for a two-handed, and I'll explain why I'm saying that. Obviously, as two-handers have much shorter swing, what we see happening is they have a much faster approach than most of the one-handers.
Yep.
But what I saw on Ethan, the push away for him It would be on what would be the third step on a 5-step approach.
Yes.
That allows him to go much slower compared to many of those two-handed. That some of them even have a double power step
Yep.
in order to match that timing. That's something that happens by the brain. But when I saw Ethan, it was like, okay, now it's easy. Now I can grab any of those senior bowlers,
Yep.
because there's many senior bowlers that stop bowling one hand and they want to try two hands.
Yep.
But it's very hard for them to get that speed on the legs. And you cannot keep shortening up the approach that much, because
No.
then they end up way too far in front. So that delayed push away for a complete step, for me, that was something remarkable. So that was the closest to today's moment that really was an impact for me. And if I had to go to the oldest memory I can recall, I would probably say a squat my father bowled in the 80s when Mats Carlson was on the PBA.
Mm-hmm.
He came to bowl in Barcelona 3 times, actually. Yep. He lost 3 times on the final against my father. My father's technique was terrible, really terrible, but he was a machine of repeating. He shot 1510 on Bowden lanes with urethane ball.
Yep.
And that was something that made me go like, how the heck did my dad do that?
Yep.
That was the oldest, and the previous one was the freshest memory for me.
There you have it.
You want to take yours?
I repped for Norm when he won his 40th title, and it was, I think he was 55 years old at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And he had won the week before, and then he won the week in Jonesboro on a dual pattern in a center that had really bad topography, really bad carry, and I think that was one of the best displays of mental and physical toughness I'd ever seen, and that was really inspiring. So I was really glad to witness that, and be working with Norm that week when I was repping for Storm. So that was pretty special.
That's a very special moment indeed. Okay, let's look around. Let me tell you, Alex Horton, 278 for 168 over. That's a very strong horse you have over there, buddy. 247 for Dan Harding. That's 124 over. That's one of my horses. Let's see what else do we have. 160 for Sean Rice there on 13 and 14. We have 670 for Caron. 640 for Justin Knowles. 101 over for Frankie on 19 and 20. Still holding up there.
Mm-hmm. He's going to need to find something, though. He had that big game, and then he's 11 over the next 2. So
surviving, but not finding.
He needs 230s across the board on the way out here.
Let's see, where did Zach move? Oh, Zach is on 15 and 16 on a working space of 205 for about 130 over. If he strikes out, 120 over if he doubles on the 10th. But now we're going to focus on Santo, because he's going to take his 10th frame here on lane 10. He's got the front 9. And the first chance to move a little bit higher on the squat. He was not up there yet. It was 22 over, I believe. Yeah, 22 over for Santo before this game. All right, one more. For a moment, it felt like the 7 was standing, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So Jasper, still quiet, but 105 over. Andrew Anderson, 161 over. Yeah, we're going to that 4 or 5 bowlers on the 1400s.
Yep. Somebody asked, if you're 350 RPM, are you out of the cut in this era of bowling?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. Because today's balls are so efficient that, of course, you're not going to strike as much. You're not going to have as much pin action as one of those guys with 600 RPMs. But 350 RPMs, you can repeat your shot if you can be accurate enough and be smart and fast enough to move ahead of the transition, and you know which ball you need to put there every single time. I don't see why not. It doesn't matter, even if you have the ball so deep inside, you can always create more spin on the ball and keep generating that angle.
Well, how about Santu? 300.
There you go,
All
Santu.
right.
300 game for Santu.
Nicely done.
Beautiful over there.
Yep.
722, another guy with more than 100 pins over. And I think that's the third perfect game we see this week.
That's incredible. Congratulations to him. Well, let's tell you what. Can you pull up the cut? Just everybody who's in the cut so far. Let's.
What do you want to see? The cut over there
yeah.
to see where we're standing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's just go
through
it. Let's go through it, and we'll put your
general standings over here. Let's drop down. The cut at the moment was 1371 for Mike Ong.
Okay.
1372 for. Let me move it a little bit more so you can see it better.
Let's start. Okay, so Mike on, two-handed, right?
No,
one-handed.
Single-handed.
Single-handed, big rev rate.
Big rev rate.
Okay, let's go to EJ Tackett, big rev rate. Arnar, big rev rate. How about this guy? Do you know this Brent D. Reuter?
No, I believe he's a two-handed though.
Okay, how about Joel?
Joel, I don't remember. But
Joel.
Is it one-handed, two-handed, high rep, low rep? You remember?
We got Magnus in here helping us out.
All right, let's skip one for a second. Jesper, low rep.
Yeah, he's a low rev guy. Paul Perps.
Lefty, Germany, two-handed.
Yeah.
Theodore, two-handed, lefty. Then we have Brandon Bonta.
Big rev rate.
Of course.
Eric Jones, two-handed. Jacob, two-handed.
I don't remember that one. Thomas McNeil, Rasmus Olsson, two-handed. Urethane Lover, AML, same.
So tell me, okay, we're just going to go through a list. Give me somebody who's, let's just say, under 400.
Now, I know where you're going, but
hold on, because I want to know. I'm curious. I'm curious because I think a good question was brought up here. I would like to know. So I'm going to keep going up. Ray Teese. That's probably closer to 400. So we got one.
But the thing is, I would actually tell you differently.
Okay, so we got one, maybe two.
But the thing is, the question specifically is, can I with 350, and you can do it. How many 350 RPMs do we have under 25 when everybody's no thumb in the ball? It's going to be no one.
Yeah.
So that is like, how many left-handers have we? Okay, if we have one left-hander for every 8 200s, obviously the stats are not going to be there. So I know what you're trying to say. Everybody is up there, has high rep. But the question specifically is, can you do it without a high rep? I believe you can do it. Maybe it's easier with high rep, absolutely. But it can be done. You just need the comprehension and the ability to repeat. That's still a big factor also. And actually, when everybody is bowling 600 reps, if you can bowl 350, sometimes you're going to be bowling on an area you're going to be on all by yourself.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
All right. Do you think we can have the scorings already refreshing? That would be cool because it's a lot of strikes going on, and it's fucking interesting when we get these kind of deep conversations. I love that people is asking all these kind of questions because then we get to get our philosopher side of the brain working out. Scores are not refreshed yet. Let's give him a few more seconds and see how many we have over 100. Oh, there we go. We got them. So we have all the way to 8 people with 101 or more over 3. The standings are like this. Alexander Horton is now on the lead with 768. Number 2 is Andrew Anderson, 761. Number 3, Eric Jones, 730. Number 4 is Dan Harding, 724. Number 5 is Santu with 722 after that 300 game. Then we find Zach Wilkins, 711. Jesper Svensson, 705. Frankie Leroy, 701. Nico Oksanen, 695. And closing that top 10, we find Matthias Ankerdal with 694. And if we go back again to see how many are above par, and now it's even bigger number. It's 34 out of 40 throwing over par. So that means the scoring pace overall is still going a little bit bigger, and that proves my point from the whole week. When there is a little bit less of urethane on play and a little bit more of resin, the lanes open up a little bit quicker, makes the score goes a little bit higher for most of the players. And yeah, it looks like we could have again quite a few people shooting 1400 on this squad, and that may move the cut even higher from what we have at the moment. Matt, the last time you were here, you said 1381. Since you're so kind to be back with us in the booth, I'm gonna give you a chance. Remember, I said my game, my rules. I'm gonna give you a chance to give me a new number.
Okay.
Go ahead, shoot.
1398.
So 1398 to make the cut. That's the new bet for Matt over here. Let's see. And since we asked, what do you think is going to be the cut for the step 2? This top 25, which is currently at 1416.
I would say, I'm going to say 14.
27 maybe because of the many tight in there.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1430.
1430, all right.
1430.
That we had step 2 here. Matt says 1430. We had also the under 21. They chose to decide 1360. The ladies, they said 1290. That's already gone.
That's gone. Yeah.
So the ladies division is already matched.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna change. I'm gonna say it's top 24, right?
25.
25.
25.
Yeah,
going.
I like that. I like my number. I like my number. Yep.
So we keep it on 1430 for Matt. We'll see. We'll carry on with our guest and predictions a little bit later on. Obviously, it's just a friendly game, a fun game for us to do a little bit more and not just talking a lot of nonsense all the time. So, especially me. Okay, which horses do you want to go on?
I got a couple good. Well, are we talking about these horses or what other horses?
No, these horses, but now
yeah.
on the screen. So if we want to go and find somebody in particular, who you want to go and have a look at? Should we go for the leader? Because it was Andrew, right? Andrew is... oh, yeah, that's the wrong screen. Hold on.
Alexander.
No, Alexander, sorry. So Alex is on... Where are you, Alex? I found Andrew on 910. But Alex is now on... wow. Oh, there. Lanes 3 and 4. Spare.
Well, 3 and 4 is a tougher pair.
Yes,
remember?
yes. So you move to the longer lanes.
Yep. And Andrew's got double 9 spare on this going right now. Eric Jones. Where's Eric Jones at?
19 and 20, and some strikes also for Zach Wilkins over there. So there's
that could be a big...
two guys there with 130 and 111 over and striking from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to... Louis, you're spot on this urethane resin thing, man. You're spot on.
You know what happened? I've been facing so many people using that purple ball when I only had the pitch black available, and I don't have 600 RPMs.
Well, that's the whole problem.
I need to get my thumb out of there to get anywhere close, and when I do that, the ball speed is so slow.
Oh, I know.
It doesn't make it worse.
It's no good.
So I had a lot of, especially when I bowled up here in Sweden, everybody was throwing that urethane, and it was so hard for me to compete against them. I would start far outside, try to use them as hold, but that would be a point where I had to... Actually, the IQM will save my life so many times up here because it was going much longer. When it was turning, at least it wasn't affected so much by the carry down.
Yep.
So I had to find many different ways to bowl against them. and I tried so hard to teach my kids up there to learn to use the resin and not stick only on that urethane ball.
Yeah, if you're putting all your eggs in the urethane basket, I got news for you. Our sport changes quickly and drastically. You know, you go back to so let's go to the 60s, okay, when everybody's throwing rubber balls, right? And we had lacquer lane surfaces and everything else. And then guess what happened? Poly came in. And then we had poly, but then the lacquer lane finishes starting going away, and we started going to urethane based coatings. Okay? And then go to the 80s, urethane came into play. And then we started introducing synthetic lane surfaces, double voided pins, Surlyn coating, phenolic Pindex, different types of kickbacks. Okay, then go to the 90s.
Flatter gutters as well.
Yes,
at some
raising
point
the flat gutters. So then go to the 90s. Reactive resin showed up. Okay, then we started getting different types of lane machines and going away from hand oiling. Then we stopped. Then we started going to lane oils to go in the lane machines that were less mineral based and more synthetically based. Right.
Let me stop you just a second.
Yep.
I want to ask something, and let's see if you agree with me.
Sure.
I felt a drastic, and I mean drastic, way of playing the lanes, at least in Europe, as soon as the stripping machines came out.
Yes,
because
the combo machines,
we had
right?
the cleaner machine and we had the Century back then, and then when the Silver Bullet Magnum and
the combo machine.
Yes.
Yep.
As soon as those came into play, if the pattern was drawn oiling on the forward way, there was no way to play the gutter.
Yep.
The first three boards were completely gone.
Yep.
I found out if I wanted to still play some gutter shot, we had to build the pattern in a way that when it was stripping, only stripping and oil on the other three passes.
Yep.
And it was a very quick interruption, but I just want to make sure it was the same everywhere. Those stripping machines kind of killed my funny part of the of the lane. I love to bowl the gutter. I love to see how much of the ball. Teenager times, you know, you do all these crazy things. Almost like that one. It was let's see how much of the ball I can put out there.
Yep.
And I miss those days. That was very fun, actually.
Yeah. And then you know, the ball started changing very, very quickly, and then you know we had more synthetic lane surfaces come into play, and different types of synthetic lane surfaces come into play as more manufacturers started making them. And a synthetic lane, folks, is not the same. All the synthetic lane surfaces have different hardnesses, different thicknesses, different amounts of inherent friction.
Very different friction that you can actually feel on the approach.
Yes.
It's not the same when you're sliding on a Brunswick approach
versus
or
cubic
this
AMF
one we have in here. Much more sticky, much more friction on it, and you can see it on the ball reaction as well.
And then you got to start talking about the installation. Was it an overlay over existing wood lanes, or was it built and it's just on top of cribbing? And then in the 2000s, then we had particle balls get introduced.
Yeah.
Right?
And I remember
and so then
acrylium also back in '95.
Oh yeah,
I remember that ball. Nobody could do anything with that. I bowled for Ebonite back then. Nobody could do anything with that Omega but Sassen. He destroyed everyone in '95. He had a couple of Omegas and he was a very good friend of mine. The funny thing is that I drilled 3 of those there. I shot 240 average with 3 of them. Then I brought them back to Europe, and I could never do anything with them. No.
Yeah. So here's my overall point.
Continuous evolution.
Yeah, okay. Here's my point. Okay. Our sport changes a lot. So if you're going to bank on the fact that a 78D urethane ball or an existing urethane ball is going to be it for the next 30 years and is going to allow you to beat everybody else for the next 30 years with your style of play, I'm just going to tell you, history says you're making not the best decision.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree 100%. Now, do you have a couple of questions more there for you? One, I'm not sure you can answer. When will Firestorm be released?
I won't hold your breath.
And then we have another question that is for you as well. What is the standard prep routine for maintaining the surface between squats. How much does hand pressure versus spinner work alter the actual roughness on the lanes?
Oh, huge.
A very short over there. This year we had some new small tool, super cheap, called Upgrade. I don't know if you've seen it.
Mm-mm.
It looks like a ball cup, but
Yep.
on the other side it's built with Velcro.
Yep.
So you put the Abralon in there,
Yep.
and when you actually sand it by hand, it does a much better work than when you do it with a naked hand.
Yeah.
That's a very good tool for people who does not have a spinner in the house or not a spinner available nearby.
Yep.
And it costs like 8 or 10 euros, so
Oh, that's
it's
great.
very, very
That's
cheap.
fantastic.
Very, very cheap, and it's a very good tool for bowlers out there. I'm not sponsored by any of them. I have nothing, any business in common with them. I just think it's a very interesting tool for people who may not have access to a spinner machine.
Yep.
But all yours.
So, maintaining the surface, and so we don't really consider true surface. We only care about surface that matches up to the environment in the then and now. So I don't care if a ball is supposed to be at 1,000. We're going to make it what we need to make it for that player in that exact
In
moment.
that situation.
Yep. And so the first part of the question really isn't relevant per se. The second part, now how much hand pressure versus spinner, okay, that makes a big difference. And it also makes a difference when you put it on a spinner, how many sides you do, how hard you press, what speed you have the spinner on. In the United States, we have low and high speed spinners. Generally, Europe, you just have one spinner speed.
Yes.
But it also matters how fast that speed is and how much pressure you use, how much water you're applying, how old is the pad, is it worn, is it fresh, is it brand new, are you going with the track, are you going against the track, across the track. There's a lot of variables there. So it's very hard to give you a black and white answer, but it's the same thing with surfacing a ball by hand. If you press harder, you're going to create more RA, and if you don't press as hard, you're not going to create as much.
So we are back again to what we were talking half an hour ago, the comprehension of the game, the understanding of the game. Nothing is black and white. You just have to find which kind of gray is going to work for you, which kind of gray is the lane demanding at that moment, and that just proves that you just need to be awake all the time and just be able to adjust things in your game, in your balls, in your skills to try to match up whatever you have to do on the lanes over and over again. Okay, we have a lot of striking going on here and there. I see Kyle Trupp with 5 in a row, Anke Dahl 4 in a row. Here on the lanes where we are, potential 269 for Eric Jones, potential 279 for Ben Robinson, same for Zach Wilkins. So the scores are going high again. This is game 4. And it looks like we're going to have a bunch of people with a fair chance to make the cut on this squad.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, very low game on 5-6 there for Antonino Fiorentino. 1 strike only after 8 frames. Same for Thomas Larsen, a lot of 3 open frames over there. EJ trying to survive at 1 open frame, just a double. Santu, as bowling with them, has a Turkey 6-3 strikes pair double. So Santu is the only one that is kind of surviving that 5 and 6 pair. What else do we have?
Boy, and it's really interesting to see. We're seeing lane play that 3 days ago we didn't even comprehend. You know, and that's just how quickly things can change. You get some different bowlers coming in, you get some different lane play, some different surfaces, some different equipment types, and all of a sudden, what you thought was the play a couple of days ago,
it's no longer there. No longer there.
Yeah.
Andrew Anderson bowling on 9 and 10. He's got 1 spare miss, but a couple of doubles. And Jesper again with a 4-bagger. Jesper is bowling very consistent on this squad. 238, 232, 235. On his way for another 230 with 1 more strike. And it's just on that moment where if you catch the big game, it's going to be that squad. If you catch the low game, you're going to be so upset again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, look at Eric here, striking out for 269, putting himself with 199 over after 4, 198. That's 998 for him, 268. Wonderful game.
Yeah, shooting 1,000 on your opening opening few games is pretty darn good. 250 average.
Beautiful reaction there on lane 18 for Jenny. Trying to strike out for 248.
Yep, trying to get in that women's spot.
And 100 over if she strikes out.
Yeah, absolutely. And she just basically needs to average par last couple games, and she'll be leading for the women's spot. Minus Sophie.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Ben Robinson and his urethane down there. Getting another one. Working on a 279 pace.
Oh, yeah. Ben's really taking advantage of that pair. Him and Eric Jones both ate it up. Like I said, you know, those are you got to take full advantage of the good pairs and minimize the damage on the bad ones, because you're going to find a lot of them out here.
Ooh, that one we need a replay.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was the machine or was it a very late 10. Let's see if we can catch that one.
No, it's
now
the
it's the machine.
Yep,
it's the machine. It was good that we got that replay on time.
Yeah, so that one needs to be stood back up.
Still gonna be a 258 game with the spare and strike. Put him all the way to 169 over, which is quite good after 4, 240 average.
And I think he already had a pretty good squad to get a bye, didn't he?
I think he did on the previous one or yesterday, 14 something, 1448 he did. Actually, he did it on his first attempt.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot about him. On his way to score very high again. I guess he's bowling light, just trying to gather more information for Sunday. Oh, trip in the 6 there for Ben Robinson. So that's a 279 all the way to 157 over. Zach's going to be on... hold on a second. They didn't put the 9. They put a strike in there for him.
Oh, no. That's wrong. We got to... that's incorrect.
We have to let them know.
Yep, that's incorrect.
Zach Wilkins, frame 10 in here. It was
Yep.
the machine that took the 10 pin.
Yep.
So it should
That-
be
he
10,
needs to shoot a
10
10
pin
pin.
on the 10th frame.
Yep.
The first one on the... Yes.
Yep.
Well, 9, and he has to shoot the spare.
Yep.
Here. Zach Wilkins. Sorry, I was showing you Ben Robinson. The 10th frame.
Yep.
It was good that we catch that replay.
Yeah, can we pull the replay up again, or is it gone?
I think we can do, actually, if I click here, it should be that one.
And you can... Yep, you can see that was clearly the machine.
Because the pin was getting there, but it was
Yep.
way too slow to fall that fast.
Yeah, that was definitely the machine. So we might lose a friend in Zach momentarily, but
No, but I'm
Zach
sure
wants to play by the rules.
exactly.
He doesn't want.
No,
he doesn't want
He
it that
probably
way.
didn't see, because actually he was already turned. His face is no longer
Yeah.
looking at the lane, so it's not that he's cheating at all. He didn't see, and probably whoever was sitting in the lane said probably it was the pin that took it down.
Yeah. Yep. So that'll cause a little bit of a delay and everything. But
Now look at that. Noah says we got the police commentators. Poor Zach. Now talking about funny stuff, you know what happened to me 4 months ago, more or less. We were bowling the nationals in Catalonia. We happened to bowl on a string machine, and it was one of those super...
Oh, the recreation machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the sanctioned strain.
No. And the pattern was like one super wet dry. I missed inside like a couple of balls, really bad shots. So I left the 1, 2, 4. But when I took my spare, the ball did hit the 1, the 2, and the 4. But the pin number 2, it never moved.
Yeah.
It was like the string was completely... It never happened to me before. And they gave me a miss on that one. I said, how can that be a miss when I touched the 3 of them? So, but that is one of the old string machines out there. Okay, Daniel Frisch is going to shoot 277 with one more. This guy is a little bit of a roller coaster. I can see him all the way up and down, one game to the next. Looking around, let me see, what do we see? We're on 4 games, yeah. 945 for Santu, striking out for 223. EJ just 215, so he's 52 over. He needs a very high couple of last games. Jesper is striking a lot again on 9 and 10, so I'm gonna drive over there and see what goes on. Andrew Anderson looking to double and get 215. Double as well for Dan Harding, so he's on his way for 218, and Kyle is doing quite good as well in this game. One more strike for the high 250s.
Yeah, he's been struggling to put it all together. He's had really, really good moments where it looks like he's just going to shoot a lot, and then that kind of stuff happens.
Yep.
You know, just a touch off, and he just can't seem to get anything going good for him.
All right, see what Andrew does on the last one. Just moved even deeper.
That's big there.
Beautiful shot there for Andrew. 215. That puts him on 176 over. In a need for 450 for getting that 1420 something that could give him a spot on. Actually, if we follow your prediction, he needs a 230, so he can go. 230, 460, so he goes to that 1430s to secure that spot onto step 2. And now we're gonna have a look at the Iceman here on lane 10, see if he can carry on striking and increasing that scoring pace, which on many lanes I see it's happening. So we're probably gonna have even more bowlers with more than 100 over now. Yeah, he nailed that one.
Yeah, pretty good shot there. As you come to expect from, it's just, he's so good. You just expect him to always throw it amazing and get an amazing result. So I don't know what's going on with the Wilkins case. They haven't
changed that yet.
No.
They haven't taken that spare yet. That's true.
So I guess we'll find out what happens, but never know. But Louis, I got some other.
You got a
matters
meeting,
to
yes.
attend to. Yep.
Go ahead, do your business. Thank you so much for your time, Mike.
Thank you, my
it's
friend.
always
I
a
enjoyed
pleasure
it.
to have you here with us. Thank you for your commentary. Thank you for every piece of information and perspective. It was wonderful. It's always so fun when we have people like Matt joining us here in the booth, help us understand a little bit more and a little bit better with a little bit of a different perspective. And now I'm going to wait a little bit to get the scores properly refreshed so I can give you the total standings after 4 games. It looks like there's a lot of striking going on. Still don't know what they're going to do with that 10th frame for Zach Wilkins on 19 and 20. It looks like nothing is going on. The scores are actually changing in there, so I don't know if they're going to have to wait for the very end of the squad to take that spare and the extra shot, or I have no idea what's going to happen. Actually, we're on a closed room in the office with so many screens, so I don't know what goes on out there, but we'll find out soon. Apparently he's not rethrowing because I can see people bowling already on 17 to 20. I'll show you. We have people already there taking shots. I'm guessing the cage is going to be reviewed by the end of the squad. I'm guessing they're going to make him take a spare and an extra shot once everything is done, but it's just a guess. I'm not in the committee. I'm not part of the officials. I'm just doing the commentary, helping around here, up and there. Few few bowlers I'm coaching and doing some DJ stuff, but definitely nothing to do with official decisions. So it's not my call, and I have no idea. But you guys saw the same thing online, right? You could see that the machine was taking it when we played the replay. I'm going to play the replay one more time so you guys see what goes on or what went on. We can see the pin is there, but as soon as the machine goes down, then I don't know. It's a tough call. Now it looks like football when the bar comes in. Virtual assistant referee, I guess it's called. Or maybe I just made that up. No idea either, to be honest. I have no clue. Actually, since I have to refresh the scores, I'm going to take a 1 minute break. I'm going to walk out there, see if I can find out more about that situation and let you know. So I'll be right back in a minute, maximum 2. All right, guys, I went out there, tried to find out. Actually, what they told me is that by the time they wanted to take care of the situation, bowlers have already moved around and they started bowling. So most probably they're going to wait for the end of the squad. Once the squad is finished, they're going to make Zach take that spare on the right corner. In the meantime, I'm going to let you know what are the scores after 4 games. Eric Jones is sitting with 998. Then we find Zach Wilkins, 990. Andrew Anderson, 976. Jasper Spencer, 972. Alex Horton, 963. Ben Robinson, 957. Santu, 945. Dan Harding, 940. Matthias Ankedal, 940. Then is a 34 pin gap to Frankie Lavoie, hitting 10th with 906. That means Frankie needs more or less 480, 490 on the next 2 games. Then we find Jenny from Norway. She's bowling pretty good. 100 over for Jenny over here. She has a fair chance to get some spot in the ladies division. And on this particular squad, we still have 32 bowlers out of 40 above par. And let me remind you, this is game 5. That means we are on the turbo game. Anybody who shoots high enough, but it's pretty high at the moment. So let me tell you exactly what are the standings for turbo on game 5. At the moment is Daniel Berner from Deutschland, 280 pins, so he needs to get a little bit higher. If anybody wants to do that, needs to be above 280. Now, if we look around where everyone is, we have some strikes by Eric Jones again. A couple of doubles there for Alex Horton. Kyle Trupp is with a strike and a spare, but Kyle is a little bit lower. He's only 70 over par, so Kyle needs to do 500. He's already removing his tape from the wrist. That tells me Kyle is not happy, but it's not an easy situation for any of them. Traffic is not easy to figure out, but this time it should be a little bit easy. It's far less urethane going on the lanes. A lot of resin. The lanes are drying up much quicker. That's the major reason for the scores being so high. Less urethane is less carry down. More resin is more area on the outside. The room is getting so big down the lane. You can fit an elephant in that breakpoint area. And we have to gonna go and look around. Let's go to lane 1 to 4. Let's see what we have over here. Thomas Larsen. Santu is already, what was Santu? 145 overs. So Santu needs 450, 480. He just got the double there, but let me tell you, it was far on the left side, so it was not a very good shot for Santu. AJ Johnson, not there yet. Same thing for Richard Tees or Sean Rice. It's not a very high squad for any of them. So on 1 to 4, the only one we have doing very good is Santu and Zach Wilkins. None of them striking so much yet. Let's move on to 5 to 8. Dan Harding was, what did Dan shoot on the last one? 217. So Dan is 141 pins over. Also on a desperate need for at least 450. Looks like the cat is moving higher. Actually, we had Fiona saying, predicting 1393. That could be actually the number. Who else we have? Kyle Trupp, Lucas Banen from Finland hasn't really found the spot. He started pretty good outside. As soon as the line moved in, it's not that A game for him anymore. Alex Horton, double 9 spare. Alex has, where are you, Alex? 163 over, so 440. Would be more than enough. Obviously, they're not aiming for the cat. They are aiming for the top 25. Top 25, we said it's currently at 14, give me a second, 14-16, I believe it was. Yes, 14-16, but it's going to be a couple of 1400s again on this squad. So that number is probably moving up to the 1420s. Another strike there for Dan Harding. That made it a double. Let's move one more pair on to 9 to 12. Justin Knowles, double spare. Pepe Conster is leaving a single pin there. Antonino finally waking up. Spare, triple. EJ Tackett still not finding what to do. I definitely expected EJ to do much higher on this particular squad since the lanes are playing with more resin and quite deeper compared to what it was on previous squads. We can see how close to the ball return EJ is standing, so he's going to be throwing around 20, even deeper. That's 23. But that was not his best shot. It doesn't seem to be figuring out what to do. From the naked eye, I would say his ball is still a little bit too sensitive. Maybe he needs to give a little bit of a very, very gentle surface to that ball so it doesn't become so snappy when it goes out to the friction. And it doesn't go that long when he misses a little bit in. But he has his ball rep from Motiveneer, and they can figure out what to do. After all, they live on this. They are the pros, not me. So we're going to move on to 13 to 16. Look at that, Eric Jones, front four. Eric Jones is sitting currently with, where are you, Eric? He's on the lead, actually. 198 over, and he's going to be very happy because the last day he was 209 over, and then all of a sudden he shot games of 160, 160, and dropped down absolutely everything he had on the bucket. So let's see what Eric can manage to do on this particular squad. Is this going to be the one for him? It looks like that. Let's have a look at this shot on lane 15. That was a little bit deep inside. Let's have a look again. Looks like he misses a little bit. He was throwing a little bit deeper earlier. Sorry, a little bit further outside. That was inside the second arrow. Another 7 pin there for Jesper as well. So we are on a good lane, actually. We have Andrew Anderson with 176 over, slowing down pace a little bit the last couple of games. We have Jesper here as well. With currently 172 over, and Eric Jones 198 with front four. All right, let's look around. A lot of striking going on here and there. Let me tell you, AJ Johnson strike spare 4 in a row. Richard T spare 4 in a row. Santo waking up there on 1 and 2 after open frame, 5 in a row over there. Sean Reich double spare 4 in a row. Thomas Larsen spare 4 in a row, then an open frame. But a lot of striking going on, definitely. What else? What else? AJ Johnson, we already said. Richard, same thing. Moving on to the next comer, I see Dan Harding with strike spare triple, going for the 4th one. He gets the flat 10, but he gets it down. So that means full bagger for Dan Harding, currently with 141 over. He definitely needs a high game here so he can play very relaxed on the last one. Kyle Trupp surviving somehow. A lot of 9 spares. Alex Horton double, 9 spare double. Justin Knowles double, spare triple. Frankie double, 9 spare, strike spare, and going for another spare. And then we arrive to the lanes we are watching now with Jesper on 13. Gets another double. Jesper is really getting the work done today. Very consistent. Very patient so far, Jesper. 238, 232, 235. Last one striking out for 267. And as we can see again, is very steady, very consistent on this game number 5. Spare, double, spare, spare, and a strike again. And Andrew Anderson also needing to start striking a little bit more than he's doing now. He started super strong on the first 3. 247, 278, 236. Last one dropped down a little bit, down to 215. Not a disaster, but a little bit lower than what you need. Actually, if he shoots again 215, 215, that would actually become a squad of 1406. Would be enough for the cut, but not enough to reach the top 25. Therefore, he needs to start striking a little bit more than he's doing now. And then we find Eric Jones really working his way into the 1400s with that front 4 spare and strike. Ben Robinson is a little bit shorter, is 100 pins short, so that means Ben Robinson didn't have very high game. Where was it? Game 3. So Ben Robinson is 157 over and 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 miss strike. There goes Eric. He definitely moved a little bit his feet because that ball was even deeper than the previous one. But still managed to hit the pocket. He left the 6-pin. Andrew is bowling much deeper. That was very deep inside from Andrew. And look at that late strike for Andrew Anderson on lane 14. Look at the pins falling like 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a domino strike for Andrew Anderson here. I'm sure he's happy about it. All right, let's move again to the last corner on the right side so we can see what goes on here. Jarnalatti with a clean game. Same for Wilmer, Jord van Veren, Thomas McNeil over there. Another high game there for Daniel Frisch. This guy is really becoming a roller coaster. As soon as he makes 270, he goes for 180, and then he goes back to 270. Today is no exception. 160 to begin with, but last game 277, and he's working on a pace for another 277. Quite a few bowlers there with a fair chance to increase the cut again. So let's move around to the left corner where they are already finishing. Oh, look at that expensive frame again for Santu on frame 9, 5 and 2 after strikes. Dropping down to 204. That's definitely slowing down the pace he had. That's going to remain on 1149. That's going to force him to shoot 240 high, nearly 250 if he wants to be on the next cut. And let's see who else is here. We had Zach Wilkins doing quite good. But this game is not paying out so far for him. An open frame, he just made his first double. But still has the 9th and the 10th to keep increasing. He could even go up to 220 if he strikes out. Zach is already 190 over, so if he manages to take a couple more and stay above 200, it's going to be in a very favorable position for the last game. Move on to 5 and 8 again. Don Hardin, 29 overs so far on this game. And Alex Horton had a split on the previous frame, but strike again on the 8th. He can strike out for 235. And that would put him on 198 over, which would be a very good score to enter the last game. That was quite deep inside there for Dan Harding. He really missed in there, but luckily he just left the 6-pin, which should be a very easy spare to convert. Okay, let's move again. It's too many people doing too many strikes. I cannot really keep them all on the screen. But let's see who we have here. Yeah, some striking here and there, but oh, look at that 9 miss for Frankie Lavoie. That's not something you see very often. Frankie needs now to strike out to move to 122 over. That's not very high. He's going to need a super high game, so he pretty much needs to strike from here till the end of the squat. Puts the first one. He just needs another 17 to go. Let's move one more because we have the Iceman with another double. Is going to take one more shot, see if he can put himself already on the plus 20 on this game and keep crawling on the standings for this squad. Same time we see Eric Jones is managing to spare here and there, so he's also with 28 above on this particular game. Andy Anderson surviving as well, over par on this game. He needs some more striking. There goes Jesper on lane 13. Oh, that's a solid 7 there for Jesper. So Santo finished his game with 204, currently with 149 over. Santo needs a 250 game on the last game. Otherwise, it's not going to be enough despite that 300 game. Actually, that's not good news for Santu, because if we remove that 300 game, that means he's only 49 over for the other 4 games. That's a 212 average. If we extrapolate that out, that means he's going to stay on 1360. So he definitely needs another high game there. Okay, we saw how Matthias Ankadal did not release the ball. Walked back, left the ball in the ball return. Something distracted him. It was a good idea to stop. He's got 5 in a row. He's currently 140 over. He needs every single strike he can get. So it's a good decision to stop and not let go of the ball if you feel that something is not on spot. But Robinson, that one was not good for him. Another 9. Quarter past 3 here in Helsingborg. So we can see here Andrew taking the spare, and he hits another open frame. This could be very expensive for Andrew Andersson, dropping down to a possible 190. Yeah. Now Jesper taking a shot on lane 14. Another important frame for Jesper. He wants to put the strike here on the 9th to give himself a chance to double on the 10th. Oh, that was very deep inside. Oh, and that paid out so bad for Jesper. 4-7-10. Ay. Okay, it is what it is. Eric Jones ready to take his shot over here on lane 15. Wonderful strike there for Eric. Important frame for him. Same for Andrew over here after that open frame. Gets the strike. So a very quick round, so we see before scores changes, 11:49 as we said for Santu. Zach Wilkins, I'm not sure. Yeah, he took the spare, so 190 over for him. If it doubles, it's going to be 120 over for Richard Tees. If we move to the next pairs, Don Harding, he got another strike. Apparently it was a lucky one because the way he's moving his head and his ends and celebrating in a way, so that's going to put him on 176 over if he strikes one more. Caron Salona with 2 more can be on the 130s. Kyle Troop just 108 over. Then we find Alex Horton, 198 over for Alex. Looking very good. On lanes 9 to 12, we have 112 over for Justin Knowles. 122 for Frankie Lavoie. So it's quite a few bowlers that they're not completely out, but they are in a desperate need for a very high game on game 6. Then we have 1178 for Andrew. If he strikes this next one, Jesper needs a double to stay on 1185. There's quite a bunch of guys between the 1160s and the 1180s. Okay, important frame here for the Iceman. That was a lot better. And it paid terribly wrong. Look at that. Really poor pin action after such a good shot. The 5 travels in front of the 10, so it doesn't carry the 10 for Jesper. And on top of it, it looked like it could have been a 7-10. Many high games around the 230s, 240s. Actually, I see 235, 237, 237, 235, 246, 235, 245, 225, 234, 244, 231, 250. So not anybody scoring super, super high, but many, many, many of them on that gray zone of the 230s. Since the cat is gonna be above 1380, that's already 230 average, so that's pretty much like doing par every time you make a game of 230. And that's what happens when you make 202 like Jesper did now after that split on the 9th frame. So many nines, 202, so it drops down a lot of pins now. It's currently sitting on 1174. 1162 for Ben Robinson, and Matthias Ankedal also can strike out for 1176. That's going to put like 7 or 8 bowlers on the 1170s with 1 game to go. So we could have 8 bowlers making it into the cat, or we could have only 1 bowler making it into the cat on this next 6 game. It's going to be quite interesting to see what goes on. I'm going to let you guys see how they end up on this particular lane while everyone else starts moving. And I'll be back in a couple of minutes with the update of the standings and let you know how many bowlers do have a fair chance to qualify after game 6. Be right back. I see. But no, that's an old question. Is Zach rethrowing? As I said, we believe it's going to happen at the end of the squad because by when the referees weren't there, all the bowlers have already moved and started the next game, and we couldn't just break the rhythm for absolutely everybody. After all, it's just a spare and a 12 frame. Shouldn't make much of a difference, to be honest. I have the scores updated. Let me tell you, we have 33 bowlers above par, 18 of them with more than 100 over. That's Jenny sitting on spot 18 at the moment with 104 over. That gives a very good chance to get the ladies division because I believe Sophie is going to make it on the early birds with that 1370. And the scores are as these. Leading the squad, Eric Jones with 12-12 to 112 over. Number 2 is Alex Horton, 1198. Number 3, Zach Wilkins, 1187. Number 4, Andrew Anderson, 1177. Number 5, Don Harding, 1176. Number 6, Jasper Svensson, 1174. That makes it a lot of PBA guys on the top on this squad. They're very happy it's not so much urethane on play. Number 7, Matthias Ankedal, 1166. Number 8, Ben Robinson, 1162. 13 pins gap there with number 9, Santu, 1149. Daniel Frisch, 1142. Karon Salomo is 11th with 1131. Nico Oksanen, 1126. Frankie Lavoie, 1122. Richard Tees, 1117. And from there, they need a very, very high game to make it. So we have apparently up to 10 bowlers that with a 250 game would make enough pins to jump into the final and make the cut. That would definitely make the cut number get higher. But game 6, a little bit of pressure as well. You need to get it done. When the brain starts to function in that mental aspect, I have to. It's not a very good idea. It's better to say I want to than I have to. I have to is always putting an extra pressure in your shoulders. But it's going to be really interesting to see what goes on. I'll give an example. Here we're watching on... hold on a second. I'll move so you see. 17 and 18. Andrew Anderson with 177 over. Andrew needs a game of 220 at least, but he's already with an open frame after 3. Jasper, on the other hand, front 3 to begin with. So Jasper is looking good to get that game of 220 something. Double there for Andrew Anderson, cleaning that open frame. Let me find that Harding. Dan, where were you bowling now? Because he's another of the contenders who's more or less there. I just saw Zach Wilkins with front 3 on 7 and 8. Open frame and triple for Frankie Lavoie. Frankie, if he strikes out, is going to shoot 278. And Frankie is currently sitting on 1122. So that would actually make him shoot 1400. Frankie needs to strike out. As soon as he doesn't strike, drops down to the 1380s. That's not going to be enough for the cut. Jasper celebrating there, so he got the 4th strike over there. Matthias is here as well on lane 19 with 165 over. Matthias needs a game of 235, 240 to get on the 1400s. And lucky for him, because you could see his body language. He missed inside, but the ball found some oil. Went long enough to get the strike for him. There goes Andrew on lane 17 looking for one more. He needs that one. He gets that one. We have Santu as well here. Santu needs 250. Double spare 9. Double 9 spare and strike. Let's quickly move around because we have so many people with chances. Let me see. Don Harding, 9 spare, 9 miss. What the heck, Dan? How can you miss a pair single pin when you're holding and trying to make it into the final. This is killing me. Daniel Frisch, exactly the same thing in the need for 260, and he begins the game with a 9-0. I would grab all these people and put them to spare single pins for 3 hours in a row. Oh, my. No, exactly. Ay. Kyle Troop not gonna make it. It's on the hundreds over, but that's not gonna be enough over there. So let's move on. Lanes 5 to 8. 11:20 for Justin Knowles. If he strikes out, it's gonna be 268. So that put him on the 90s, a little bit short. He needs to strike directly or it's game over. Okay, he needs to go all the way down. Zach Wilkins is sitting comfortable now because he's got a triple. That's already in the 200s for him. Frank Kilawa is game over. He needed to strike out. Now he got the baby split. Even if his pairs is not going to be enough to make a high score to get into the cut. So that means Frank is going to have to give another try. Moving on to 9 to 12. Front 4 for Caron Salome. He actually has 130 over, so he needs a 260 game. Good for him that he starts with front 4. Another single pin for Jenny. 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare. Betting is going to be one more 9 spare in here. Oi! Look at that, and he doesn't really understand. That's early reading on the ball. You see how the ball deflects a little bit over there. So 7-9 for Eric Jones. That's the 8-10 for the right-handers. And that is always a sign of the ball losing energy and becoming weak at the pocket. Let's keep moving because Eric has the job done with 200 over. Well, actually, he just needs to make par. Hopefully Eric doesn't go crazy again, but he did very good yesterday, so should be enough. Let's move one more pair. Nico Oksanen had a fair chance, but also needs to make 270, so Nico needs to strike out. As soon as Nico doesn't strike, it's game over for him. EJ Tackett, the same thing. He needed a very high game. He shot a 9 on the frame 4, so probably mentally just gave up because he missed that spare later on. And in here, do we have anyone else? No, just Nico. So let's move back to the right corner where we have both Andrew and Jesper on a desperate need for high games, and they are getting them. Four in a row for Andrew after that split. Front 5 for Jesper. Front 4 for Matthias Ankedal, also in a very good position with 11.66 after 5. Now Jesper sure needs another one and wants another one. Can he deliver? Yes, he can. One more strike for Jesper Svensson. Front 6. Okay, a little bit of unexpected reaction there for Andrew. Honestly, for me, it looks like he gripped it slightly a little bit more. It could be the adrenaline as well. Needs to secure the spare. Andrew is on the need for a 220 to be relaxed. For now, it's a 214 if his spare doesn't keep on. One more for Matthias there on lane 19. Moving my eyes around. Dan Hardin not doing good yet with that 9 miss and no double yet. Daniel Frisch, on the other hand, is trying to make it back. He's got 5 in a row after that 9 miss. So he has a fair chance there. But he needs to keep on striking, definitely. Caron Salona in lane 9, stop striking, front 4, 8 spare. Caron is with 131 over, so he needs that 260. He needs to put a lot of strikes again after that. Bowling on 11-12. Alex Horton, spare, 4 in a row. Alex is looking very good already with 200 and something over after that 4-bagger. And now we're gonna have to see if Jesper can get one more here on lane 17. Very similar pin action to the previous one, 7 pins standing. And Santu working his way back. So Santu, I believe he needs a 250 game. He's already on the 230s pace. Another needed strike for Andrew Anderson. He did not spare on the last frame, so Andrew is currently on the par on this game. And he needs at least a 220, so he needs to make sure he get a couple more of strikes. If he doesn't strike on the 9, it's going to be game over for Andrew Anderson. If he doesn't strike, maximum score would be 212, and that would give him a 1389, and that could be on the edge, on the way down on the edge. So he needs to strike out. I'm pretty certain of that. One more for Matthias Ankedal there on lane 19 and 20, getting the job done. That makes it 6 in a row. That puts him already on the 1400s. Okay, another 9 for Jesper, but I think he doesn't really need to worry so much. 9 spare till the end of the game would get the job done for Jesper. Santos still have to take a shot there, so I'm going to quickly go around and see what goes on here and there. Oh, look at Dan Harding, managed to get the triple. Dan needs, as we said, at least 220. It's on the 200s now, so he needs 2 more strikes. If he doesn't strike, he's going to be in the same situation as we just left Andrew Anderson there. That could be 10 pins short to the cut. So we're going to wait a second and see what Dan can do on the next one. Actually, no, we'll keep moving because they are a little bit delayed. Daniel Frisch is getting his 6th strike in a row. If we go back to where we were on 17 to 20, looks like Santo got one more. So Santo is getting the job done. He needs 250 and he's currently on the high 240s. Santos, so that would put him on the 1390s. That should be enough, but we cannot guarantee. So he probably wants to do a few more and go all the way up to the 1400s, which he still can do. Now Matthias on lane 19. One more for Matthias Ankedal there. Now next frame, crucial for Andrew Anderson. Solid 9 for Andrew Anderson. Super expensive frame there for Andrew. Maximal score possible for him is 212. That would give him 1389, and I'm afraid that's not going to be enough. Same thing on 1 and 2 for Dan Harding, and desperate need for a strike. Otherwise, it would be a maximum score of 216. And 216, it would put him on 1392. That's very, 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 very close to the edge. So Dan needs to put at least a couple of extra strikes here in 1 and 2. That was a lot of adrenaline in there. There was a lot of speed in that ball. Did not get the strike, and I'm not sure that's going to be good for him. He needs to do a strikeout for 1392, which could not be enough to make it happen. So back onto 17 to 20. In the meantime, I'm going to look around for the other guys that had a fair chance, see if someone is managing to. Jenny on lane 9-10. 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare, strike, 9 spare, 9 spare. Another 10 pin there for Andrew, so that's not going to be good. 100% for sure now. Alex Horton bowling on 11-12, keeps on striking pace. A little bit short to the pocket, left the 2 pin, but he's on a 228 rhythm, so he's going to do good. Eric Jones, 4 in a row after that 7-9 he left on frame 5, so Eric Jones is going to get the job done as well. We're going to have a couple of 1400s there by the 2 PBA guys, Alex Horton and Eric Jones. Now Matthias here on lane 20. One more? Yes, indeed. One more for Matthias. Front 8. That's going to be another 1400 there. So we have 3 already. Santo could be number 4. So that's already 4 1400. Jesper already on a 1400. That's going to be 5 1400s, and I'm going to be right again. Above Matt. That's set 4. Yeah, that's true. There's a few of these guys are already qualified. They already have a sufficient high score. An example would be Zach Wilkins, already with, let me tell you exactly how much he had. Zach had 1448. He's now bowling on lane, what was Zach throwing? 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. Yes, 7 and 8. Zach can strike out for 1420, so that's not going to be higher than the score he has. So I think it makes no sense to make him go spare that 10 pin anyway, because that squad is lower than the score he had before. So there's going to be no need to get him to take that shot again. But back to some striking here on 17 to 20. Actually, it's a very interesting thing going on 19 and 20. The turbo game now in game 6, it's 300 for Nicholas Carter. But if Nicholas Carter bowls again and qualifies, the turbo on game 6 drops down to 280 for Nura. But AJ Johnson has a chance to bowl 290. So that would be the next or the new leading on the turbo. In the meantime, we saw another strike for both Jesper on the 12 and Santu, who was on his way for another 279 game. So that makes it first 1400 here, 1420 for Jesper. 1400 is going to be for Santu. 1400 most probably is going to be for this beautiful guy over here striking again, Matthias Ankendal, front 9, and that's what you want to do when you need the shot. Don't strike like a queen, like a machine. And I'm mixing Swedish and English already. So many days in here, so my brain is starting to get confused. All right, 4 pin for Santu, but good enough, 1407. I think he's gonna be happy. Obviously, he wanted to do strikeout to give himself a chance for the top 25, but 14-18 wasn't enough anyway. So that 4 pin did change nothing. Now AJ Johnson, is he gonna steal the turbo from Nura? Nope. Nora is gonna remain there in case Nicholas Carter qualifies directly. Nora is gonna take that spot. And 1420 for Zach Wilkins. 1436 for Alex Horton. 1438 for Eric Jones. 1420 for Jesper. 1417 for Santu. A possible 1465 for Matthias Ankedal. That makes it 6. 1382 for Dan Harding. That's not going to be enough. Very, very close. 1378 for Andrew Anderson. That's not going to be enough, but very, very close. So we have 6 bowlers with 1400. Again, I see my predictions are always getting right. When I see so much resin on the warm-up, I know the scores are going to be high. And these people still don't understand that. How is it possible? They don't look. Definitely they don't listen to the commentary on the... Otherwise, they would have found that already. No, I don't know why. They would learn something, you know? No, but when you go back home, instead of drinking beer and falling to sleep, why don't you reflect a little bit on what you did? What could I have done better? Because that's part of the bowling as well. You don't just get better in the bowling alley. You actually get better outside the bowling alley when you analyze what did I do right, what did I do wrong, what other options could I have tried and have not tried. But now, let's focus back on lane 20, Matthias Ankendal, for a chance of the 10th strike from the beginning. He walks, he swings, it delivers, and a little bit deep in the pocket, but he got the job done. He got what he needed to do, which is going to be 1444 with a spare and a strike. And it's the spare, definitely, if he wants to lead the squad. And actually he needs to spare, because otherwise it's 1430. It's like, should be enough at top 25, but better make sure it's an easy spare anyway. It's just a 10 pin. I think it's the easiest pair, actually. I leave it so many times that it has become the easiest one. Good job. Nice work for Matthias Ankedal. He had to score high on the last one, and he did score high on the last one. Another super impressive squad here in Olympia. Things are going rocket high. A lot of high scoring. Let's see what goes on in the next squad, which is going to be 1 hour and 15 minutes from now. 5 o'clock, third squad in the day. We will be back with more action. We thank everybody for your attention, and we will be back soon. See you later, guys.